You know, sometimes football is like a deja vu. Something that's already happened, it's happened again. That's what happened with one of the New York Giants football championships that we're going to discuss tonight. It's a repeat, and we're going to talk about it in just a moment.
This is the Pigskin Daily History Dispatch, a podcast that covers the anniversaries of American football events throughout history. Your host, Darren Hayes, is podcasting from America's North Shore to bring you the memories of the gridiron, one day at a time.
Hello, my football friends. This is Darren Hayes of PigskinDispatch.com. Welcome once again to the Pig Pen, your portal to positive football history, and welcome to another edition of the New York Giants 100th celebration. 100 years of New York Giants football, and it has been such a spectacular ride so far. Just talking about some of these great players and teams and people associated with the Giants. And we're going to talk about another one tonight, and that is the season of 1956 that ended up so well for the Giants. We're going to discuss it here in just a moment. But remember, you can partake in what we have going on all the time by simply subscribing to this YouTube channel, hitting the notification bell, and every time we have something come out on Pigskin Dispatch, which is filled with football history and football entertainment, you will enjoy it. Every Monday, we have the New York Giants here in 2024 celebrating their 100th season. Tuesdays, we have footballarchaeology.com's Timothy P. Brown talking about another aspect of football in something in antiquity that's something very interesting every single week. And we have plenty of other shows, YouTube channels, podcasts, and stories on pigskindispatch.com, so make sure you check us out there. Now, the 1956 Giants were a unique team. They had some great players. They had some great coaches, legends of coaching and players, to say the least. And they had a great team, ended up winning the NFL championship. But it really was very similar to another season for the New York Giants, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But first, let's talk about some of the coaches. Well, we've talked about them the last few weeks. We have Jim Lee Howell was the head coach, and his assistants were Vince Lombardi for the offensive coordinator, and a gentleman by the name of Tom Landry as a defensive coach. You can't get much better than that. Now, on their roster, they had Hall of Famers galore: Frank Gifford, Roosevelt Brown, Sam Huff, Emlyn Tunnell, and of course, Vince Lombardi and Tom Landry on the coaching staffs. Just some excellent folks. Andy Robustelli was on there as well as a player. So just some tremendous people. It's a tremendous season that they had. Now, they went through the season and ended up having an overall record of 8 wins, 3 losses, and 1 tie. So let's go through real quick sort of how their season started off. They started off the beginning of September by beating the San Francisco 49ers 38-21 in California. So had to make that West Coast trip. And think about that in 1956, how long of a trip that was, even by plane or train, however they did it. It's still a long journey. October 7th, they were at Chicago playing the Cardinals, who were then in the Windy City as their hometown. And they ended up losing to the Cardinals 27-35, maybe a little bit of a jet lag or travel lag from being away from home so long. Then a third stop on the road against the Cleveland Browns, where they beat the Browns 21-9. So that was a big victory for them. So they're 2-1 after 3 straight road games. Their first home games against Pittsburgh Steelers, they won 38-10. And next week, October 28th, at home, they defeat the Philadelphia Eagles 20-3. They play at the Steelers, win a close one 17-14, and then beat the Chicago Cardinals at home 23-10, avenging that earlier loss. They then play the Washington Redskins in DC and lose 7-33. They got blown out in that one. Not sure what happened. And then the Chicago Bears come to town and they tie 17-all. They host the Washington Redskins, beat them 28-14 the following week, and then lose to the Cleveland Browns at home 7-24, then defeating the Eagles 21-7 in Philadelphia. There's a regular season. They end up being the best team in the East, best record in the East. The Chicago Bears had an 8-2-1 record, and they were the masters of the Western Division. They get to play in a championship game, the NFL championship game. Now, back then, they alternated the home sites. This time, it was supposed to be the Eastern Division home team site, so the Giants were going to have the game. And it wasn't at the Polo Grounds this time. It was at Yankee Stadium, the home field of the Giants in 1956. So this would be the first championship game in Yankee Stadium for the NFL championship game anyway. And, the Bears were actually favored, even though they had tied 17-all earlier in the season. Well, it was a 20-degree day on that day on December 30th. Just a few days after Christmas, a few days before New Year's Day. 20 degrees out. There was like a rainstorm that turned to ice. So Yankee Stadium was just a sheet of ice. Pretty bad. Kind of reminiscent of the 1934 championship game where the Giants hosted the Bears at the Polo Grounds. Icy conditions. Well, the Giants seemed to learn from that, what happened 22 years earlier, and they decided to wear sneakers during this 1956 game, just like they did 1934, which is known as the infamous sneakers game. They wore the sneakers again in 1956 on the icing condition. The Bears decided to wear their cleats. They didn't learn their lesson. And the Giants pull off a stunning 47-7 victory. They just blow the doors off of the Chicago Bears. The Bears didn't even know what hit them. Couldn't get their feet, couldn't get their traction. And their sneakers once again gave them the traction on the field to take them on to victory. So, just some tremendous offensive play and defensive play by the Giants in those really bad conditions to do it. So, the Giants came right out of the gate, scored in the first quarter 3 times, a touchdown and 2 field goals. Mel Triplett had the first on a 17-yard run early in the game. And then a touchdown in the second quarter. Alex Webster had a 3-yard run, and then a 1-yard run shortly after that. And Henry Moore recovered a block punt in the end zone. So the Giants are way up. It's almost like 28-7, I think, at halftime in that game. 34-7, I'm sorry, at halftime. Third quarter, Kyle Rote has a 9-yard pass from Charlie Connerly, who is the quarterback. We forgot to mention Charlie Connerly was on that team too. I don't know how we could forget him. And Frank Gifford had a 14-yard pass from Connerly in the fourth quarter. All in 47-7. Giants win the championship. Sneakers game 2 could have possibly be called. Well, they did it again. And what a great season for the Giants. Again, upsetting the Bears in this ice in New York City. First time in 34 at the Polo Grounds, second time 56 at Yankee Stadium. And what a great thing to do to be a Giants fan in those days. So that's just another great piece of history for the New York Giants 100. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you tune in next Monday for another great piece of Giants history. But tune in all week because we have some awesome stuff happening, just like I told you earlier, here in football history. PigskinDispatch.com, our YouTube channel, Pigskin Dispatch. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Till next time, everybody, have a great gridiron day.